Alright guys, so I just had to get this warning out. Stay tuned. Wait. Before we actually start this stuff, if you stay until the end of this video, I'm gonna show you how you can get access to an amazing, mind-blowing, secret community of drug abusers. Back to you. Guys, listen up. If you eat magic mushrooms, they will potentially change your personality forever. Forever. And that's not necessarily a good thing. You see, a lot of people like to talk about the good. I mean, hell, everybody likes to talk about the good. Just look at movies. Most movies have good endings. But you look at life, and life shows a little bit of a different scenario where all endings aren't good, right? Like, think about it. Almost every movie ending is good. But life ain't like that. It's more 50-50 status, okay? And so, eating magic mushrooms could potentially change your personality forever. But you're probably wondering, but how? Well, for one, they can increase your awareness, or rather intelligence, if you use them correctly. Unfortunately, most people don't, and they end up remaining more just dumb. Just to not get fancy on you, just to get straight to the point. It just keeps them more dumb. But if you are eating magic mushrooms and then you are utilizing some critical thinking skills, well, that's where the epic changes start happening. And so, if you're doing that, right, because you've recognized, like, oh, dang, are these things making me more intelligent? Okay, well, first of all, yes, they are. Second of all, it's because of the critical thinking. Now, with that being said, as you're doing this, you're eventually going to start critical thinking about your personality, right? Like, first, maybe you'll be hitting up the critical thinking on, society and the government and bullshit like that. And then you'll get a little deeper into time and maybe even space. Hey. And your own identity and stuff like that. And eventually you'll come to a point to where you begin to shed your old identity for a more accurate one, right? Or at least this is what can happen to your personality. And so basically you're trading out your personality with a different one. So think about it this way. When you are just a kid, right? I don't know, let's say 3 or 4 years old, 5 years old, 6 years old, whatever age you want to use. Your personality from then to right now, well, at least if you're 18, like you should be if you're watching this, 18 and older, well, your personality from 18 and older is severely different from your personality from when you were like 4 or 5 or 8 or 10 or 12, all right? And the reason is because your mind's developing. It's thinking and it's doing its thing. And through doing its thing, it's broadening your perspective. Okay? And as your perspective is being broadened, your personality slowly develops. Well, that's the type of stuff I'm talking about here. Well, magic mushrooms basically accelerates this process. And in doing so, you eventually start to, quote unquote, shed that personality that you've been building up your entire life, which is kind of funny to think about in and of itself. It's almost like a snake shedding its skin, right? Like, haha, I'm really not this skin. I'm this skin, right? And so, that's one of the things about magic mushrooms that you need to think twice about, because this change in personality can either affect you positively or negatively. And the fact is, if you go deep enough, it'll probably do both. Right? Like at first you'll feel all empowered and you'll be like, well, yeah, the only time is now. Yeah, man. Dude, I understand society and the government way more, man. Yeah, I'm so cool and intelligent. Yeah, 'cause I see it now. Right? But then you'll get past that point, and then you'll start thinking about other stuff that starts to break down your personality. Kind of like you'll start thinking about your own existence, your own mortality. Why does everything exist? Or better yet, how does everything exist? And where is the relationship between my existence and the rest of my perceived existence? And you start getting into these deeper topics, and it keeps going down this rabbit hole till eventually you start having ego loss. And that's what it is. And the reason you're having ego loss is because you are gaining or at least in this instance of ego loss, you're gaining this new perspective because your intelligence is increasing. And so that can be horrible in some circumstances. In fact, I'm a walking, I can't think of it.
Why, hello there. If you don't mind, out of the kindness of your gentle heart, could you please like the fuck out of this video?
Basically, I'm a perfect example of it going wrong or too fast. So basically what I'm saying is you can develop your intelligence quicker than you are ready to, right? And in doing so, you'll eventually face some truths about your own personality, about your life, about the universe itself that you won't be ready to handle. And if you're not ready to handle these truths, and that's why it says the truth hurts, because when you get really deep into the truth, oh yeah, it's gonna hurt. But if you can't handle it, that's how panic attacks happen, okay? I mean, there's other reasons why panic attacks happen, but a big reason is because you're being shown a potential truth and you can't handle it. For example, let's say I start having a panic attack because I think I'm about to die, right? It feels like I'm about to die. Well, that's a potential truth that, yeah, I could actually die, right? At any moment. But because of this potential truth, or because I'm having a panic attack, it reveals that I am basically not mentally ready to handle that potential truth, okay? And so that's pretty much the big problem with taking psychedelics, is if you are a user who actually knows how to use them to basically speed up your intellectual evolution, for lack of better words. Well, if you are that person, then you can run into this problem where basically you'll be emotionally wrecked, right? Because you'll be filled with so much fear, potentially other stuff depending on your mind, but you'll be filled with so much fear that you won't be able to cope with it. For example, when I hit that roadblock, like, of the truth that's too unbearable for me to even accept as the truth, I started ripping out all of my eyebrows, all of them, and I had no eyebrows left. In case you're wondering why they're all jacked up, well, it's from ripping them out for years, okay? And same with my hairline. I started ripping that out. And there's actually a medical term for it, for this phenomenon where people with extreme amounts of stress and anxiety end up like ripping their hair out. Like some people even rip out their eyelashes and stuff. Glad I don't do that. But anyways, but that's what I'm saying. And so that's one of the big, or rather it is the big reason why you should be wary about taking magic mushrooms, because you might accelerate a little too fast and hit a wall you weren't ready to bust through yet. And when you do, man, it's gonna hurt. And it'll change your life forever and your personality forever. Like, I used to never be a nervous wreck. I used to never have extreme amounts of anxiety. I had none, alright? Like, once I got rid of my shyness issue, which is another out of the scope of this video entirely, but once I got rid of that issue, man, I was a ball of egoic confidence. And then I got hit with the cold hard truth that I wasn't ready to handle, and now I'm a nervous wreck all the time. Okay, that's how my personality has changed for the worst. All right, like I always feel like I'm about to die now. And so that's the bad thing. But let's talk about the good change that magic mushrooms can do to your personality. And the good change is, well, it still evolves your personality, right? It evolves your intelligence if you're using critical thinking on it, which you should. And as it evolves your critical thinking, that in turn allows you to break down old beliefs that weren't as logical as your newfound ones, right? Because that's pretty much what critical thinking does. You break down old beliefs through the use of logic, right? And so as you're doing this, your personality is developing in all kinds of ways. You're developing emotionally, right? Because you are now understanding your emotions a lot more, and your reactions and your desires and how they affect you when you don't get what you want / desire, and when you do. And then you're starting to look at how the game is played a little bit more on a higher level in various areas, just outside of your personality. There's a lot of stuff that goes on during this process that ultimately also changes your personality for the better, because you're getting closer to the truth, all right? And the truth, at first, it looks amazing, all right? You're like, God, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. As you're discovering new truths and you're creating new belief systems, all right, from your now superior logic, which you once again try to go through that same process and then break down that belief and refine it to try to form a more accurate belief. Anyways, but yeah, so that process is all fun. Yeah, your personality is great, and that's one of the good things about psychedelics is you can be in that state. But I'm telling you, eventually you're gonna hit the wall. You're gonna hit the cold, hard, dark truth wall if you keep looking for the truth, right? Keep looking for the truth in everything, and eventually you're gonna hit that cold, dark truth. And that's when your personality that was all great will crumble into a nervous, anxious wreck until you bust through that cold, hard wall of truth that you weren't ready to accept. Like, once you are ready to accept it, though, there's only bliss right on the other side. Once you can get past all fear, to the point where you have no fear of death, completely logically. And I don't mean like how most people are when they're, when they don't really understand death, like how I was before doing psychedelics. I'm like, I don't fear death, whatever. All right, like I thought I was gonna die by like 22 to 25, and so I'm just like, screw it, I'm just gonna party it up, right? And it's because people never really gave very, very, very deep thought about their death and what it actually entails and means. And until one is able to do that on a very deep level, they're not going to really give death the fear, I guess you could say, it deserves. But nonetheless, once you break through that fear, well, You already know what happens when there's no fear. When there's no fear, there's only greatness, right? There's only the bliss, the joy. But yeah, so hopefully this gave you some insight on magic mushrooms and how it can change people's personalities. Hey guys, thanks for watching the entire video. Hope you liked that stuff. But if you want to hang out more, right? Because who doesn't want to hang out with me? Be sure to check the link. I don't know where it's at actually. Where is it? I don't know. It might be in the description. It might be in the comments. Maybe it's even on this video. There's a link, okay? Click that, okay? And subscribe to my mailing list. And from there, you can get access to my amazing, super spectacular, awesome secret community of drug abusers. It's pretty cool though. Seriously though. Click the link. Check it out. See you there.